Hey, it's Leo. Have you ever wondered why some places are so haunted that even seasoned ghost hunters refuse to go there? Today, we're diving into 5 of the most chilling, spine-tingling places on Earth. Places so eerie, they've scared off paranormal investigators for decades. And the stories behind them? Well, you might want to keep your lights on for this one. First, let's travel to Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. Built as a tuberculosis hospital in the early 1900s, Waverly Hills quickly earned a reputation for tragedy and despair. Thousands of patients died within its walls, and rumors spread of unethical medical treatments and sinister experiments. But here's the twist. Visitors today claim to witness shadowy figures roaming its halls and hear agonizing screams echoing through the empty rooms. One particular apparition, known as the Creeper, is said to crawl along the floors and ceilings, terrifying even the bravest ghost hunters. What exactly is this Creeper? And why do paranormal experts refuse to investigate its origins? Now, just as you think it couldn't get scarier, let's shift continents and explore the chilling story of Poveglia Island in Italy. Often dubbed the most haunted island in the world, Poveglia has a dark history that dates back to the bubonic plague. Victims of the plague were forcibly quarantined here, many left to die in agony. But centuries later, the island became home to a psychiatric hospital where patients allegedly suffered horrific abuse. Legend has it, one doctor conducted twisted experiments on patients until he himself was driven mad by ghostly visions, eventually leaping from a bell tower to his death. To this day, the island is off limits to tourists, and local fishermen avoid sailing near it, claiming that tortured screams and ghostly apparitions still haunt its shores. But here's what really puzzles investigators. Why does Italy's government still refuse access to this island? What secrets could Poveglia possibly still hold? If islands aren't eerie enough, let's explore a place so haunted it became the inspiration for countless horror films, the infamous Stanley Hotel in Colorado. Built in 1909, the Stanley Hotel inspired Stephen King's chilling novel, The Shining. But this isn't fiction. It's far more terrifying. Guests and staff regularly report unexplained phenomena, including sudden cold spots, disembodied laughter, and sightings of ghostly children playing in the halls. The hotel's most haunted room, room 217, is notorious for guests waking up screaming, convinced someone, or something, was standing at their bedside. Some paranormal researchers attempted overnight investigations, but mysteriously left before dawn, claiming they'd never set foot there again. What exactly happened to make them abandon their research so abruptly? Speaking of abrupt departures, have you heard about Leap Castle in Ireland? Often called the most haunted castle in Europe, Leap Castle's bloody history dates back to medieval times. Violent clan rivalries, betrayals, and executions were commonplace. However, it's not just human spirits roaming these halls. Legend speaks of an entity called the Elemental, a terrifying presence said to manifest as a grotesque creature enveloped in foul odors. Paranormal teams brave enough to investigate the castle describe an overwhelming sense of dread and nausea, often fleeing in terror. But here's the kicker. No one can agree on what the Elemental actually is. Could it be something far darker and older than a human ghost? Now, if you thought castles and hotels were eerie, let's discuss the ancient Ram Inn in England, believed by many paranormal investigators to be the most haunted building in Britain. Built on an ancient pagan burial ground, the inn has witnessed centuries of terrifying events, from alleged sacrifices to witchcraft rituals. Former owner John Humphreys described frequent attacks by invisible forces, waking to find himself dragged from his bed by unseen hands. Guests often leave in the middle of the night, swearing never to return. Paranormal investigators have recorded disturbing EVPs, voices begging for help or screaming in agony. But why are some investigators convinced the inn holds portals to other dimensions? Each of these places holds mysteries darker than we could possibly imagine. But here's a chilling question. Could these terrifying legends and hauntings be more connected than we realize? Stay tuned, because the next location might just be the darkest of them all, and it has even the most skeptical researchers utterly baffled. Our next stop takes us deep into the heart of Japan, to the infamous Aokigahara Forest, also known as the Sea of Trees. This dense, silent forest has a chilling reputation as one of the most haunted locations on Earth. Locals warn visitors about entering, believing the forest is inhabited by spirits known as eerie, vengeful ghosts who torment anyone who disturbs their resting place. Over the decades, countless visitors have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, confusion, and despair upon entering. Strangely, electronic devices often malfunction, compasses lose direction, and trails seem to vanish without explanation. Could there be a supernatural force within the forest, deliberately luring visitors deeper into its shadows? But even stranger than the stories of Aokigahara are the accounts from experienced paranormal investigators who visited and never returned. Rumors persist about seasoned ghost hunters abruptly abandoning their equipment and fleeing the forest in terror, vowing never to speak of their experiences again. What could possibly terrify hardened professionals into silence? Next, let's journey to Edinburgh, Scotland, home of the infamous Greyfriars Kirkyard. At first glance, it appears to be a peaceful cemetery, but beneath its serene appearance lies a horrifying secret. Visitors frequently report being physically attacked by an unseen force, experiencing bruises, scratches, and even being knocked unconscious. Paranormal researchers attribute these attacks to the spirit of Sir George Mackenzie, known as the Mackenzie poltergeist, whose violent temper in life seems to have intensified in death. Interestingly, the cemetery's Black Mausoleum, where Mackenzie is buried, is now locked to the public due to numerous incidents. So why would ghost hunters who thrive on investigating dangerous spirits adamantly refuse to enter this mausoleum? From Scotland, we cross the Atlantic to visit the Bell Witch Cave in Tennessee. The story of the Bell Witch haunting is one of America's most infamous paranormal tales, dating back to the early 1800s. It revolves around the Bell family, who endured terrifying supernatural attacks by an entity that spoke, physically assaulted family members, and openly mocked visitors. Today, the cave where the witch allegedly resided still draws visitors, but most ghost hunters steer clear. Why? Because nearly everyone who ventures into the cave reports feeling as if they're being watched, hearing whispers echoing through the darkness, and sometimes even seeing apparitions materialize from thin air. Could the Bell Witch still be lurking in her cave, patiently waiting for unsuspecting visitors? Speaking of terrifying caves, let's talk about the Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, famous not only for its massive size, but also for its haunting legends. Visitors have reported disembodied footsteps following them, whispers echoing from the dark recesses, and shadowy figures vanishing into thin air. But perhaps the most unsettling story is that of Floyd Collins, a cave explorer trapped and left to die in the 1920s. Today, many claim to hear his desperate cries for help echoing through the tunnels. Paranormal investigators have documented sudden temperature drops and disturbing EVP recordings that sound eerily human. Yet many refuse to return after their first visit. What unseen forces could be lurking deep within this massive, ancient cave system? Finally, we journey to Australia to explore the Monte Cristo Homestead, often called the most haunted house on the continent. Built in 1885, the homestead has a disturbing history filled with tragedy, death, and alleged paranormal activity. Visitors have reported seeing apparitions, hearing phantom footsteps, and feeling overwhelming dread in certain rooms. But here's where things get especially chilling. Multiple guests claim to have been physically pushed or scratched by invisible entities. Even seasoned paranormal researchers refuse to spend the night, convinced something malevolent occupies the property. What exactly resides within the Monte Cristo Homestead that even professionals fear? These haunted locations share more than just terrifying histories. They challenge our understanding of the supernatural. What if these places aren't just randomly haunted, but somehow connected by forces we don't fully comprehend? Could there be something deeper at play, something that even the bravest investigators fear to confront? Perhaps there's a reason ghost hunters refuse to revisit these locations, knowing they might uncover truths better left hidden. If you found these haunted tales intriguing, be sure to let me know which location scared you the most. Remember, sometimes reality is far more terrifying than fiction.